Hello, welcome to a very special episode of Just Another Horror Podcast. Today we will be doing The Thing.
Woo woo!
John Carpenter's The Thing.
I'd just like to say, year to date, this is the best movie we have watched.
Oh, easily. First of all, my name is John.
Cobra.
John Carpenter obviously wanted to do this movie. He threw it in Halloween when he did The Thing from The Thing from Another World? He threw that on the TV.
On the TV, yeah.
Yeah, so it's obvious he wanted to do this movie for a long time. This movie doesn't have a whole lot to do with that one. That's a basic idea, I guess. There's a monster in the ice, and are they in Antarctica?
They're in Antarctica in the winter of 1982 because John Carpenter likes to tell us time and location.
Oh yeah, real good at that. It starts off with a spaceship crashing into the Earth, and then it cuts to a helicopter chasing a dog. If you've seen the prequel, that's how that movie ends. It's the helicopter chasing the dog. So it tells the story of...
Now, does that woman live through it? No, she must die, right? Or does she live through it?
I think she dies at the end of the new one. She's in a vehicle with somebody, and he notices that the ear that she had pierced through the whole movie has switched sides. So he knows that she's not.
Wow, that's pretty observant.
Yeah, it is. But I noticed it too. I was like, oh... She changed, because they made a big deal about it. I mean, they wouldn't make a big deal about it if they weren't trying to tell you something. So yeah, this movie starts out, the helicopter's chasing a dog. It's a Norwegian helicopter. Or is it? Norwegian, right?
Yeah, they through the whole time they refer to it as Swedish, and the other guy's like, oh, it's Norwegian.
They're shooting at a dog. No idea what's going on here. They're just
Nothing
crazy.
whatsoever.
They don't speak the language, so when they land at this camp of Americans... And they're just yelling in Norwegian.
And shooting at this dog.
Yeah. And they hit one of the people who works there. Naturally, they're like, fuck you!
Why would you shoot at this dog that's going into a group of people?
Don't know. You would think you'd be like, get away from it, something.
Write a note?
Yeah. I know, they must know absolutely zero English. I would just be like, doing hand signals, something.
Yeah. Dog is...
But he just goes, and shoots the guy in the leg, so they shoot him right in the eye. He's dead. So they can't figure out exactly what was going on. They blew up the helicopter. They try to throw a grenade.
He gets out, he tries to throw a grenade, it goes behind him, -3 yards, and blows up that and the helicopter.
So they take the dog inside, and...
Let it wander around pretty much the first day.
Pretty much. We make Kurt Russell... who plays McCready.
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around.
Badass motherfucker.
So badass, he breaks a chess machine by dumping
whiskey or scotch. What is it?
I don't know.
B or J and B.
J and B. It's just like
My move. Rook to knight 6. Checkmate. Checkmate.
Cheating bitch.
Kurt Russell was so cool.
Oh yeah. Everything he's in that I've seen, he's excellent. So there's some other characters here that we like to see, such as Wilford Brimley.
Hi, I'm Wilford Brimley, and I have diabetes. It hurts me to pee, and it causes me to be short with my family. I can't sleep at night. The other day, I stubbed my toe and took it out on the dog. And 2 weeks ago, I ran out of vanilla ice cream and struck my wife. And then I find out my wife's been dead for 6 years. Who the hell did I hit?
Whose diabetes are dangerously out of control.
I heard that this is where he got his diabetes, is the filming of The Thing.
I could see that happening, yeah.
It was the bitter cold.
So they take it upon themselves to travel to that camp where this shit happened. Or where these Norwegians came from. So they go there, and the camp's a wreck. There's dead people everywhere. They find one guy who, looked like his skin came apart. He was frozen to a chair.
Gross.
And they go outside, and they find this thing. It's like, that's the right description, because that's what the movie's called. They find a thing in the ice. It's like a human, but it's not. So they bring it back to camp, and they cut it open, and it's got organs, and it looks like a person. So they don't really know what to do.
They find some papers, too. Like some notes or something.
They can't read them.
They don't know anything about them.
Tape. A couple tapes.
Why would you take the notes if you can't read Norwegian?
I don't know. I would have just left them. No point in taking
Does
them.
maybe someone at the camp knows? I mean, this
They
camp...
think that it's Sweden. I mean, they don't know shit.
Yeah, they don't have a clue. How many people were at this camp, would you say? About 10 guys, maybe?
10 or 11, yeah. They're trying to reach outside radio assistance. They can't get it.
What are they there for?
Just research, I think.
I didn't know if they ever mentioned anything, like they were digging in the ice, or they were...
No, they're just there for, like, weather research, I think. Which, I don't know if I'd go just, based on the fact that there's a good chance you're going to die there. A good chance. You aren't going to get any assistance if anything goes wrong. Anything. You're fucked. They can't get radio... They make that abundantly clear. You can't
Wouldn't
get
you think that
radio
they would
assistance.
have people set up there, though, that would be ready for an emergency? You're in Antarctica, it's 40 below.
Who are you going to set up? You're going to send people down for the... Okay, let's say you send people down in case there's an emergency. What if there's an emergency with those people? You're going to send people down for them? You're going to have to populate the
How
continent.
do you get down there? By boat or plane?
I think boat. I think boat and then helicopter. That's how it
Okay.
works. I don't know anything about Antarctica. I'm making this shit up. This is 1980s, too, so it might have been completely different.
I just feel like if they got those people there should be a rescue crew at the closest... I don't know if it's Tierra del Fuego. I don't know what the fuck the closest point is to Antarctica, but there should be...
There's no towns down there
A
at all.
rescue crew
There's nothing
somewhere.
down there. There's absolutely... So that's what makes this so plausible, is if, like, an alien spacecraft crashed into Antarctica, who the fuck would know?
You're gonna be fucked if you're there.
Yeah, you're done. So, they put the dog in the back room, and it starts going fucking crazy. There is a point when it also walks into a room with somebody that we don't know who it is, and it just kind of fades off. Goes into the back room and starts trying to eat the other dogs, not in a way that we eat, but in a way that its face splits open and it shoots out tentacles and it drags the other dogs around and it sprays all kinds of weird shit on them, and it's just insane to
It
look
is
at.
insane. It's really good effects, though.
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole way through.
It looks 10 times more realistic than anything that's come out today. I mean, it looks freaky scary. I don't know if it's stop motion or claymation or what, but it looks really good. And that's Rick Baker doing the effects on this. So, they come in, they find this dog, like, basically eating the other dogs, and they try to kill it. Do they set it on fire? I thought it gets out, doesn't it? Part of it gets out, and the other part they set on fire.
Part of it, I think, goes up in the ceiling.
Yeah, it climbs out.
And they fry the rest of it.
Yeah.
Even though the guy watching the dog, I think his name is Richard Mazer. He was in a movie we already covered, It. He was in... He was Grown Up Stan. He is the dog... he has like a really close tie to these dogs in the movie. I don't know what his deal is with
He's
the
cut
dogs.
off from civilization. I think that's all he has.
But
That's
yeah,
the point.
he takes it hard that they got to kill these dogs. But they flamethrow all the dog.
Not
But
all
that-
of them. A couple of them. Are
Yeah, I
still
guess
there.
a couple of them were surviving, but
So they take the burned dog back to the lab, and Wilford Brimley is like, "This isn't real. This is imitation dog." And they can't figure out exactly how that happened. He starts getting a little bit suspicious. Thinks that maybe other people. Well, he's not really sure what he thinks yet. So he runs a couple tests and comes to the conclusion that there's something imitating other things, and it could imitate anybody. And if it was done correctly, you wouldn't even know.
now I saw some stats on the computer.
75% chance that somebody in the camp is infected.
And
And how many days would it take?
I calculated in my head, and I don't know if that's right, but if there's 24 hours in a day, it said 27,000 hours, which I think would be like 100 and
Less than a year.
like 100 to 110 days, somewhere in there. It would take for first contact to spread and have the whole population infected with the thing.
Although, to be honest, that thing's not getting off that continent.
No, how's it gonna
I
get
don't know
out
how
of there?
that's going to happen.
But before all this goes on, they were having a good time. There's one guy smoking
Somewhat.
weed.
Yeah.
They're drinking whiskey, beer. There's no women nagging them. This might be a vacation to some of those guys.
Yeah, probably. The one dude smoking pot looked like he was having the time of his life.
He's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
It's probably for his back.
So McGreedy decides he's going to go to... No, first they watch the videotape and they see them digging something out of the ground.
Yeah, it's in the ice.
Yeah.
You can
They
kind
also-
of see.
Yeah, and while they were at the place earlier, the Norwegian camp, they found a big block of ice with something that looked like it got out. So they go to where they think on the map the Norwegians were in the video, And you find a spaceship.
And Kurt Russell was wearing a cowboy hat sideways.
Yeah.
And this,
he's like, what, you got a problem with that?
He's like, how fucking cool am I? I wear this cowboy hat sideways.
Well, they also find a square cut out of the ice. It looks like somebody got ejected from the spaceship. And they assume that it crashed and it flew out. And that's what they found. It was laying there for probably hundreds of thousands of years, and then they cut it out. And then they think it thawed and it got loose. What it is, we don't know. We never find out exactly what this fucking thing looks like, what it is.
No, you get to see some images that it takes on a spider-like form in smaller pieces.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you really don't... And there's tentacles sometimes. I mean, it is a complete mindfuck on what this thing is.
It's like an amorphous blob. It never has a real shape. Well, they figure out that it probably can replicate humans. They start talking to each other secretly about what they think is going on. The one guy stole Wilford Brimley's journals. He's reading them to McGreedy. And it says basically that the things that they took from the other camp, they weren't dead. The organism's still alive. And that's when Wilford Brimley destroys the helicopter, gets a gun, and goes completely fucking nuts.
He axes everything in his workstation.
Yeah.
Destroying everything.
He's made the decision that nobody's leaving, and he's going to kill all of them. But he's just one man with diabetes. And I think a shot of insulin might have helped him out here.
It had to have. He was crazy.
He was out of his fucking mind. He's swinging the axe, yelling at everybody, and one guy's like, "Hey, calm down." Calm down, Blair. He's like, "I'll kill you."
He shoots at Knowles or one of them.
Mm. So they come at him with a table and get him into the corner, and McCready does a little bit of roadhouse punches and knocks him out. And they put him in a little room by himself, give him some vodka, and they're like, "Hey, dude, good luck."
He's in a tool shed for the rest of the time. So
then they find they're putting the bodies in the back, and I think one of them starts to melt, and it grabs a hold of one of the guys, tries to replicate him and fails miserably. He runs out of the camp. His hands are all like flopping around.
Is that Fuchs?
I think it's Fuchs. Yeah.
Okay.
And he just starts making this ridiculous, horrible sound. So they just light him on fire and burn him. And this is where I lose track of where
Kurt Russell kind of takes... They're deciding who's going to kind of be in control of the camp.
He just takes control.
He takes control of the camp.
Yeah, he doesn't wait around for shit.
Meanwhile, they're pretty much trying to figure out what's the best way that they can figure out who is human at this point. Because nobody's trusting anybody right now. Everyone's like, if you move, I'll fucking kill you. Because they don't know who is who.
They come up with a test involving blood. They're going to mix the blood with... What were they going to do? They're going to mix it with contaminated blood.
They heat up a metal wire,
That's later.
I think.
At first, they're going to take some of the blood that they already have stored, regular blood, mix it with the contaminated blood, and see if there's a reaction, because there would be. Except that somebody unlocked the freezer and drained all the blood out. There's only one person that has the key, and there's only one person that has access to the blood. So, they're both suspects. Turns out neither one of them are actually anything. But
does the doctor die after he gets his arms ripped out?
His arms ripped out?
Do you remember that part?
I know what you're talking about. He just disappears. I don't know what happened. I guess he dies. But first, what happens is they're still arguing and bickering over who's who and who's a thing and who's not. And McCready asks somebody to go with him to his cabin because the lights were left off when he left the night before, and now they're on again. So they're going up there, and they find a burnt piece of McCready's jacket, and so everybody thinks that McCready is the thing, because he must have shed his jacket. Or I don't understand their logic behind this.
It was ripped in a little bit.
I understand why they're paranoid, though. I get it. So the guy who was with him leaves him outside, cuts the rope on him, and it's storming real fucking bad.
I don't know how he didn't have hypothermia.
Right. He's out there for probably, I don't know, 40, they say 40 to 45 minutes he's out there. Holy shit.
In 40 below?
Yeah.
That's fucking cold.
But he breaks in through the window because they're not going to let him back in because they think he's the thing. And when he breaks in, he's got a stick of dynamite. He's like, don't you fucking touch me or I'm blowing this fucking place up. So, he beats up a couple guys, and one of them has what appears to be a heart condition. They take him to the lab, and they're gonna use what are those things called? Defibrillators to start his heart. Meanwhile, McCready's like, you fuckers, you touch me again. And while he's going on and on, the guy on the table's fucking stomach opens up like a Venus flytrap and eats the guy's arms.
Arms right off.
So then, like this,
Then it flies to the ceiling, doesn't he?
Yeah, he flies up into the air, and then the fucking stomach opens up, and a head on a big tentacle flums out, and meanwhile, the guy's actual head comes off, like stretches off, and grows legs and crawls around. So they set the original body on fire with the tentacle head.
The tentacle head.
And while they're letting it burn, they go and they put that out, and they hear something, and they look back, and the head has flipped upside down, grown antennas made of eyeballs, and spider legs. And they're like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So they set that thing on fire, and that's my favorite part of the movie.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
So now they're really at a loss right now. They don't know what the fuck's going on. So McCready does come up with an idea, which is what you were talking about. He takes a piece of wire, he's going to heat it up, take samples of their blood, and see if it reacts to heat, because he figures every cell is a living creature.
Now, I've got a couple problems with this.
Okay.
One, there's a part where the doctor or Wilford, I think it's the doctor, but they say that they need to stay isolated, eat their own foods, don't share anything, because they don't know who's
That's the guy they
contaminated or
put in charge after Brimley goes crazy.
not. So that guy's telling you that. Meanwhile, they're doing this blood test. They're all using the same knife on their hands to draw the blood.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that.
That would be bad.
If one of them had it, they all
have it now. Well, at least, unless it was the first guy that, didn't have his blood.
Well, luckily for them, it's like the last guy in line. They got lucky.
Yeah.
They weren't thinking.
Meanwhile,
good
Kurt
idea,
Russell shot the dog guy in the head. Because
Yep.
he came after him. He's like, if anyone moves, I'm going to shoot you. And he did. And he shot him in the head. Because he thought he was infected. Because Wilford Brimley, throughout the movie, was saying, you got to watch him.
Yeah.
Stay close to him. Even though he was not infected.
No, he was just really emotional about his dogs.
Yeah, that's it.
Who
the whole time.
Brimley killed the rest of them, by the way. So they're all gone. There's a couple guys that keep like walking closer to McCready. He's like, don't get the fuck away from me. So they check the first guy's blood, and it's fine. The second guy's blood, it's fine. Third guy's blood, it's fine. And at that point, you're like, well, this is dumb. This isn't gonna work.
It's a crock of shit.
And so they're all starting to get really pissed at each other. And he goes to check.
The pothead handicap guy.
Yeah, goes to check his blood, and it pops out of the beaker and starts crawling away on its own. And then he starts shaking, and he turns into like I don't even know. His head splits open.
It's bizarre.
He grabs, what's the name of the guy who works the radio? I don't remember.
Palmer was one of the guys. Like Bennings, Palmer,
I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
No, those are the two black guys.
Well, it grabs the one guy, turns him, it grabs a hold of his head and flips him up in the air, so his feet are in the air. So it's like the dude is standing on his feet, and they're connected at the... It's so weird. He's flopping him around trying to eat his head, and then he just throws him into the corner and runs outside, and they catch him on fire. That's the only scene that looks anything like the thing from Another World, when they catch him on fire and he bursts out the door and dies.
Is that when Kurt Russell throws a nade right at him and it explodes?
Yeah. He's outside and he just throws a grenade at him and it blows him up into pieces.
It is the quickest... Like, as soon as it hits a body, it explodes. I don't think grenades work like that.
No.
Not just quite.
So, they burn the other body inside that got, like, its head eaten, and they find out that everybody else is fine. Nobody else's blood goes crazy. So, the next thing is... I'm not really sure what they're going to try to do next. They're going to go try and test Wilford Brimley's blood.
Yeah.
They get out there and he's gone.
Of course.
Wilford Brimley, that sly fox. Well, he went under the floorboards and dug himself a tunnel. So they're trying to find him, and they also decide they're probably not going to live through this. All the machines are broken. There's no way out. They can't get any communication. So they're like, well, we're going to die, but fuck this thing. It's
That's
not
right.
going to make it off
They
this
say that
fucking
they
place.
the thing likes it cold, so they're going to heat the fucking place up.
Yeah. So they start blowing the whole camp up, like, room by room. And then they go into the basement, and they leave... Who do they leave behind? What's his name?
All I have is Blair puts his fingers in some dude's face.
Okay. Well, they leave one guy behind. They tell him, if you see Blair coming back here without us, fucking kill him. So the three of them are downstairs setting a bunch of dynamite up, and Blair starts picking them off one by one. He puts his fingers in the dude's face, and then McCready's like, "How's it going down there?" And he doesn't hear anything. He's like, "I said, how's it?" And then he's like, "Oh, if they're not going to answer, they're probably dead." So he grabs a grenade or a dynamite, I'm not sure which, and he starts walking, and the floor just explodes up, and fucking Wilford Brimley was the thing the whole time. He's fucking ugly looking. So he's howling and screaming, and he's got like dog pieces coming out of him and all kinds of shit. And so McCready takes the dynamite and
Fuck you too!
he throws it at him and blows him up.
How did McCready survive that?
He looked like he was going out a door. I guess that's the door.
He threw it and ran. He was like,
explosion proof. I don't know. I wondered that too. I'm like, did he just barely get out that door? Did the door withstand the explosion? Because it blew up the entire, almost the rest of the camp.
Yeah, the whole facility pretty much was like...
Not that it matters because he's gonna die. And I think that's, everybody dies. He goes and he meets that other guy.
Childs.
That's the guy who they left behind, Childs.
That's... What's his name?
He's
from
in
They Live.
Yep.
Yeah, David Keith or Keith David. I don't know.
And they're talking to each other, and they're still suspicious of each other. They're like, "Well, if you're worried about me," he's like, "Well, I don't know. At this point, I don't give a fuck."
Yeah, why would you care?
Yeah.
You're in 40 below weather. The camp's on fire. There's no way that you're gonna live another 3 hours. Just enjoy your alcohol.
Yeah. They
like
just start
do.
drinking, and that's
it.
Movie's
What else
over.
could you do?
Nothing. And my guess is the thing is probably still there. Because it went in like 55 different directions, so it could be anywhere.
Pieces and shrapnel everywhere,
Yeah.
walking around like spiders.
So that's it. That's the end of the movie. What did you give it?
I gave this a 9 out of 10. The special effects in this movie were sud. And I haven't watched this movie in probably 15 years, and I didn't remember how good it actually was. I love Kurt Russell. The only other performance I think I like maybe just as much is probably Big Trouble in Little China. Another John Carpenter movie, though. He knows what he's doing. Escape from LA is really good, too. I don't know why. See, if John Carpenter was in Christine, that movie... Or not John Carpenter, Kurt Russell. If Kurt Russell was in Christine, it might have made that movie better.
Nuts.
But yeah, 9 out of 10. Wilford Brimley, he has diabetes. What more can you say about him?
That's the big lesson in this movie.
But the whole movie was kick-ass the whole way through. And it's going to get my best rating of the year, which is a 9 out of 10.
Well, I'm also giving it a 9 out of 10. I'm saving the 10. I can't find any flaw with this movie. It's just I'm saving the 10. So, Kurt Russell's amazing. Wilford Brimley this is the only time I've ever seen Wilford Brimley and been like, yeah! Every character in this movie is pretty good. The first time you see it, it does have a suspense to it. There's even a point when you think that McCready may be the thing. And I don't know, even at the end, I'm kind of like, I don't know, he might be the thing.
I know he was outside for a while, but he was awfully white looking there for a few of those scenes.
So, the first time you watch it, it's all about the suspense and the paranoia. And after that, the effects. 1982 effects. It's 21 years later, and it fucking looks great. It's unbelievable how good they did on that movie. I mean, I can't think of anything that even comes close as far as just so many crazy effects that work. So, yeah, 9 out of 10, definitely.